Evening, guys. I'm Carrie Ann, Hemi's mum.
I'm Shane, Hemi's dad. We're Justice for Hemi.
And we're coming to you tonight to talk about what we've been up to the last few months. We've gone down to Brisbane to see the Queensland Sensory Advisory Council, as most of you are all aware.
Yeah, we went down and saw them guys, and we took the submissions that you all gave us to hand in. Apparently they're going to form part of their basis of investigation, so that's a good thing. They also say there's a few summits going to be coming up, and we're going to try and attend them. Basically, what we did was just sort of a meet and greet, and just to let them know that we want to be involved the whole way. You know, in every way we can. If they're holding something, we want to be there.
But in saying that too, we did find out some relevant information that the public's not aware of. It does state that the Queensland Sensory Advisory Council Board has 12 members. They currently only have 10 members. So Shane and I, we actually put forward to them that they don't have any victims on there.
That's right. They've got lawyers, judges, defence attorneys, criminals, but
they got no victims. Now, yet we met with the director, a lawyer. Now, everyone bear in mind, these Queensland Sensory Advisory Council, it is only a council. It's actually only the director and the few secretaries that are there at the office 5 days a week, I should say. And the others that are actually the board members that are actually on there, this is only part-time for them. So they still got an ordinary job, and then they fill in and have meetings after work apparently, or they schedule in times to overlook their data. Now, they gave Shane and I 2 handbooks, which was data information, which Shane and I, will be honest, we haven't gone over it yet, as it is near Hemi's anniversary. Now, with those 2 data policy books they handed out to us, which we'll actually read over and see if we think it's, and show you guys, because you are the public and you are part of Justice for Hemi, and get your views, because we really want to know. It actually states in there what kids have passed, how the children have passed. That's only a preview, that's only a rough view of what we think, of what we have only actually cited. We actually haven't gone right through it, but they've got one for manslaughter, favourite manslaughter, and also murder.
All they are was just sheets saying this is what murder is and this is what manslaughter is. We already know that, and as far as we're concerned, these criminals are beating these children to death, saying they didn't mean to do it, and then they're slipping through that little loophole of intent. They're saying because they didn't mean to do it, they can't charge them, they can't follow through with the murder, or it's hard to prove, so they just throw a plea deal down of manslaughter.
It's actually, if people that aren't aware, we weren't aware, we had faith in the law, but it's actually in their criteria of these prosecutors, which come your crown, that represented Hemi and other victims. Now, we don't class ourselves as victims, but what people don't realise that to hard to prove intent, it comes down to the bottom of that if they can save the court's time and money, that's what they're obliged to do, and it's actually written in the law. And that's one thing. It's pretty sad when these victims, we become their voices. Look, we know we let Hemi down, but at the end of the day, there's only one person to blame for Hemi's death. And for a Crown to sit there and tell us that they have got a duty to the law to save court's time and money, it just proves exactly what our justice system is like. It's an extra win for them. They got a conviction. The perpetrator got a lesser sentence because he pleaded early. Now, going through the court system, Shane and I have found that we had faith in the system before, prior to all this 3 years ago. Do we have faith in the system now? No. Will we ever?
Wait and see.
We'll wait and see if we can make that change, and whether this Queensland Sensory Advisory Council does take upon of what we actually suggested ourselves, our thoughts. We didn't go right into detailed. Like, we could have been there all day and another whole day. I'm sure, you know, they had at least 6-7 pages of our writing of what we have suggested and what our thoughts were on a lot of things. And another thing that the Queensland Sensory Advisory Council did inform us, that they're not just with the preliminary submissions that they were putting out to the public, and on their website they actually said about sentences. Now, we questioned them into regards to that. Now, they're actually not just looking at sentences, they're going to look at the charges being laid. Now, Shane and I actually want them to correct themselves on the website, because people like yourselves and the rest of the public think that they're only concentrating on the sentencing criteria of things, but when the whole scope of it, when you actually speak to the council, the board, they're actually doing a bigger scope than just the sentencing. So they're looking at of charges, but apparently they're going to actually be putting that on the internet and asking for the public's views on the other recommendations that they're going to be putting out there through their scope. So
they're going to be doing quite a few things. They're going to be doing some forums around, I think one in Brisbane and one in Townsville. We're going to try and see if they want to do a few more, because that's such a broad area. What about all us in the middle? What about inland? You know, what about right up north? There's so many people that aren't going to have their say. They're also going to have some things online where they'll run you through a case or something and you can sentence how you see fit. You know, I don't really know if they're really much worth. I mean, it's quite clear to anybody in the public, really. These sentences are not good enough. They're not adequate. These kids are getting tortured and beaten to death, and they're getting 4 years for it. It's just not good enough, and we're going to follow through as best we can and make sure that at the end of their investigation they have some good points to put forward, and hopefully the government can then take those points and things like that and turn them into some policy that actually starts helping our kids and starts punishing these offenders correctly, because it's just not happening at the moment. So that was our trip down there to Brisbane. The other thing we wanted to talk about is Hemi's anniversary, which is tomorrow. Well, technically it's today, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny when you say it's Hemi's anniversary, because I don't, and Shane and I don't actually look at it as tomorrow. We actually look at it as today. 3 years today, we were by Hemi's side in Townsville.
So basically last night, Hemi had his brain stem severed. So by the time we got to his side, he was already gone. The machines were keeping him alive, but he was really already gone. So tomorrow's the day that we turned the machines off. It's always really hard around this time. We don't know how we're going to act. We don't know how we're going to feel. We usually go down and see Hemi. Sometimes we ask people to light candles and things like that. If you want to do something like that, please do. We'll be very grateful. But this year we're just stumped. We just feel like we're fighting and fighting and fighting, and we're not really getting anywhere, you know. But we've got to keep going. We've got to try and make the change. I just think for the next little while, we're going to take a little time to ourselves and try and get past this date and regroup and come back with some more. We'll actually go a little bit more in depth on the Sentencing Advisory Council, and we might even have some Facebook Lives with some maybe question and answers if anybody wants to know anything.
Look, we're not afraid to
answer any questions.
Answer any questions, or say that we're vulnerable. Like, I know that probably some of the questions you might fire at us is, how do we get through this? We're
not strong, we're just stubborn. We know that an injustice has been done, and we've got to make sure it doesn't keep happening to everybody, you know, to another child. It's just not fair. But thanks for listening, guys. And
please light a candle for Hemi. That'd be
nice.
Much appreciated.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope to have some more stuff for you later on. Thanks.
See yous.